This is one of the pieces I'm working on my Rose engine. It's a oval shaped box. Turned on my LRE lathe. To create the oval shape, I'm using a oval shaped Rosette. It's one of the ones that Dave makes. This is number 183. When I started turning this box, I was using this touch here, and I had it rubbing against the Rosette. But in the meantime, I have built this bracket that mounts the amplitude adjuster that I'm making onto the back of the machine, so we can use the amplitude adjuster to change the amplitude on Rosettes. I think it's going to be pretty handy. I was going to continue on the box with the just using the touch that I started with, but I decided to try using the amplitude adjuster. So I measured the box, and the outside of the box is 2 inches and 94 thousandths, and on the wide spot, and on the narrow spot it's 1 inch 725. That difference is 369 thousandths, which gives us 184 thousandths of sway. That's how far the box moves. It moves 184 thousandths twice each revolution. So I installed the amplitude adjuster onto the lathe, and then I set up an indicator, rub it against the headstock, okay, and I can adjust the fulcrum. This part here, it moves up or down this rod, and it changes the pivot points here. So you can just set this up in the lathe. I got this set at 0, and we can roll the spindle around. There's 183 thousandths. We're going to call that close enough. So it moves 184 thousandths each time the spindle turns. Here's another view. As the spindle goes around, there's back to 0, and we come back around again, back to 0. It moves off center twice every revolution. Rosettes act different than an elliptical chuck. Their shape varies throughout their diameters. This rosette, towards the outside, it looks more like a circle, but if you get in here a little bit more, it starts looking like an oval, and then further towards the center, the center starts to flatten out a little bit, and then it looks like a racetrack. Okay, and then if you get closer and closer to the center, it changes. It starts to look like a peanut, and then it looks kind of like a figure 8. This was all done with the same rosette. That's why an elliptical chuck is better than a rosette in certain circumstances, because you can adjust the sway on them. My next challenge is going to be to fit this piece of wood here. It's going to be the lid. It needs to fit on that box. When I first started doing this, I was just kind of monkeying around, and I wasn't really paying attention. And I should have marked these two pieces where the center line was on this part. That way the grain would line up. So I'm going to have to kind of make a guess to get the grain to line up on these boxes. And on an elliptical box, you can't turn the lid to get the grain to line up. So I'm going to have to study this a little bit and see what I can come up with. I've got a plan, and we'll find out how good it works in the morning.